Right, we should have sound now. Do we have any sound? Do we have action? Let me know in the chat if you can hear what I'm saying now. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Anyway, let's start from the top anyway. Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that you all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these videos every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We have Bitcoin sat at $27,323 and we have Ethereum sat at $1,814. So in the last 24 hours, we have seen a slight move to the downside, but it's not as bad as what we have seen in the last week. We are down 8.5% in the last week for Bitcoin, and we are down 13.8% in the last week for Ethereum. So it's not been a great week so far, but we are starting to steady out now. We are seeing some key levels of support there as well. So we will be doing some Bitcoin analysis at the end of today's video, so make sure to stay tuned. First, let's take a look at the cryptocurrency news. Let's first of all take a look. This article here, we have Coinbase files legal action against the SEC. Now, we all know that the SEC filed a Wells notice against Coinbase earlier this year, in March, I think it was. And this is basically a warning that they may try and file some things against Coinbase in the coming months. But Coinbase, we already know, will fight back against the SEC if they do so. Coinbase is on a mission to get clarity over regulation in the US, and they are continuing to fight this battle. They created a petition in July last year to try and help get clarity on cryptocurrency regulation and to try and get the SEC to create a framework that allows cryptocurrency companies to understand regulation in the jurisdiction a little bit better. But they haven't yet received a response from that petition. So the SEC basically need to say if they accept the petition or they reject the petition. The SEC have said nothing, and Coinbase just want a response. Whether it's yes or no, they want a response. So we are now seeing this unravel in this week to see if we can get an answer from the SEC and they can try and provide some clarity on the regulation in the US, which we continue to be fighting for, but we just do not get a response, and we need a response from this. So that is basically the whole summary of this article. If you want to go into more detail of that, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. Please don't forget today to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news, and don't forget to go over to cryptosavingexpert.com as well. And if you hit this big blue sign up button, you are 11 minutes late for today's newsletter, but if you hit that sign up button, create an account and tick that box there as well, you get our newsletter every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. BST time, wrapping up the week in crypto. If you do that now, you'll be sure to get that next week, and you can also see the backlog of those as well, so you can see what you've missed out on. Let's move on to the next piece of news here today. We have Coinbase and Gemini to bid in the auction of Celsius assets. So they're bidding for the assets of Celsius. Basically, this will go towards making users whole again. So Celsius filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in July 2022 in the domino effect of the Terra Luna collapse and everything else that occurred in 2022. We did see some companies unfortunately have to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, Celsius being one of them. And now they are trying to, now what we are seeing is Coinbase and Gemini bidding in the auction for Celsius's assets. So we can see here, the asset auction will allow bidders to state their claim to acquire Celsius's assets, and the auction will cover the cost of the creditors' fees and go towards making customers whole, and that is ultimately what we all want to see. Last week, Celsius reported a filing of a litigation motion against Tiffany Fong, who stated they had a significant amount of assets locked within the platform. And Fong's example is just one of the many customers that have had assets within Celsius when it filed for Chapter 11 protection. So what we want to see here is we want to see these users be made whole again. We want them to see their funds back in their accounts. So that's really important to help keep people within the cryptocurrency space. We don't want people to just shy away from it, and we want to see these things be resolved. So this is what we are seeing here today. Side note before we move on to the next piece of news, a little bit of an interruption here. We have some Crypto Saving Expert merch. So if you do want some Crypto Saving Expert merch, we've got these lovely bags. We've got some pens. We've got a pen here as well. We've got a Crypto Saving Expert pen. We also have some air fresheners and lots of other stuff. So if you want to get in the chance of being sent some of that and you are based in the UK, make sure to go over to our Twitter and engage on a couple of tweets, and we'll make sure to send some out to some of those commenters over on Twitter as well. Our Twitter is Crypto Saving X, so if you wouldn't mind giving us a follow over that on there if you haven't already. Let's move on to the next piece of news here, though. We have Bitcoin Ordinals extension. Unisat Wallet suffers double spend attack hours after launch. So double spend attack is essentially when the same coins are spent twice. So we can see here, if we take a look at this article, the wallet, which claims to be the first open source browser extension wallet for ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain, opened its marketplace on Sunday, but the team temporarily closed the platform only a short time after the launch. That's a really disappointing launch for this project, and I'm sure a lot of hard work has gone into this, so it's very disappointing to see something like this take place. But in a Twitter announcement, Unisat disclosed that the marketplace experienced many double spend attacks arising from a vulnerability in the platform's code base. So double spending occurs when two different transactions sent into the Bitcoin network are trying to spend the same Bitcoin balance more than once. Obviously, we can't spend the same pound twice. We can't spend the same Bitcoin twice. So this is a hack. There is a vulnerability that they need to fix. So we can see during our testing last week, we simulated different approaches to double spend attacks and made improvements and enhancements to the code. And they've said, unfortunately, certain problems were still exposed in the initial public version. So they will continue to build on this. As we always say with hacks on these live streams, we see them over and over again in cryptocurrency, unfortunately. It's not something that the space has yet overcome. Every single time we see a problem, we find a solution, and we continue to build the space and make it better and better, and these hacks will become fewer and far between. But right now we are still in the growing phase of the cryptocurrency industry. We are still all relatively new into the space. The best practices for the coding languages used in smart contracts is still relatively new, and so we are still exploring the different ways and trying to code in the best ways possible. So this is something we are going to continue to see within the space, unfortunately. This won't be the last problem we see, but we are building and improving as time goes on, and that's the main thing. And this is what you get when you get into a space early. So we can see here, if you want to learn about Bitcoin ordinals and what they are, don't forget to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. If you go over to the guide section and you go to encyclopedia, you can learn all of the different terminology used in the cryptocurrency space alongside a short definition. If you click on the definition, you get a full-on article about it, and there's a short video of me explaining each term as well, and there's about 400 terms in there, so that took me a long time. So if you wouldn't mind going and checking that out, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's move on to the next cryptocurrency article now. Before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification button so that you don't miss out on these updates. We do them every single day at 11 a.m. BST time, updating you on what's going on in the world of crypto. And I always say this is a really good place to start. If you have some friends that want to get into crypto and they don't know how, push them over to Crypto Saving Expert or onto these live streams. Just staying up to date with what's going on in the news is really useful for new people in the space. You can just learn what's going on in the markets and how the prices are adapting to that, and they can just start to gather that information over the long term without putting too much effort into it. We do about half an hour on these live streams every single day, and if they just continue to tune into this, they may become Crypto Saving Experts and get involved in some of the courses as well. So it's a great way to get your friends involved in this space. Just send them over the live stream and tell them to give it a watch if you wouldn't mind. Let's take a look at this next article here. We have the SEC wins $2.8 million token manipulation case. So the US SEC has won the case against Hydrogen Technology Corporation for alleged price manipulation. So the SEC initially announced charges against them and their former CEO, and the charges were raised in September 22. It said this, let's take a look at this. Companies cannot avoid the federal securities laws by structuring the unregistered offers and sales of their securities as bounties, compensation, and other such methods. So it's now been roughly 7 months since the SEC's charges sent the case to court, and now the SEC have won this case. So the former CEO was ordered to pay $260,000 to the SEC in 12 installments, and the corporation's total fine came to almost $2.8 million, and was ordered to be paid in 4 installments to the SEC, with the first payment of $696,000 due within 30 days. Well, fingers crossed the SEC use this money to fund cryptocurrency regulation and clarity around the space. That would be really, really useful. So this may be a recurring theme in 2023, and we are going to see a lot more about the SEC in the next year around cryptocurrency. We're fighting for clarity around regulation. If we don't get it, we're going to continue to see cryptocurrency companies moving out of the jurisdiction and focusing their efforts in other places, particularly in Asia, in Hong Kong. We're seeing huge movements from cryptocurrency companies right now If the US aren't going to provide the clarity that we need on regulation, companies are going to stop moving to other jurisdictions. We've already started to see that happening. So they're really in a race against time right now if they want to continue to support these companies in the jurisdiction. We did see a bill be introduced last week that introduced the idea of getting Gary Gensler out of the SEC and having a board at the top instead of having a chairman. But we will see how this plays out. So don't forget, if you want to stay up to date on all of these news stories, to hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's take a look at the next cryptocurrency article here. We have Bybit to require mandatory KYC verification of users from May the 8th. So this comes after they introduced KYC for users of their Launchpad and a few other features. We are now seeing that everybody that needs to KYC on the platform. So the Bybit team have explained existing users who have not completed identity verification as of 8th of May will only be allowed to close existing open positions or orders, return loans, or withdraw. Any new trading activities will be restricted. Once the identity verification is completed, existing users can continue to use Bybit products and services. So that is what we are seeing here, and this is mandatory KYC on Bybit is likely due to the regulatory pressure. We did recently see Bybit move from Singapore to Dubai, so we can see that in this article here, and we can see that the VARA has been ramping up its scrutiny of crypto firms in the city since the collapse of FTX. So this is probably a repercussion of that move. Let's move on now to the next article here and see what's going on. Let's see how many likes we've got on today's stream. If you wouldn't mind hitting like and subscribe and pressing the bell notification button, we can help you stay up to date on the crypto news completely for free. Also, if you go over to cryptosavingexpert.com and you hit that blue button there at the top of the screen, you can create an account for free and get access to the most educational cryptocurrency courses. We haven't put a paywall there, so you may as well take advantage of them. Let's take a look at this article here. So WBETH is Binance's new liquid staked Ethereum token. So we can see after the Shapella upgrade, Binance allowed their users to withdraw their staked Ethereum, and now they are rebranding their staked Ethereum product and introducing its version of liquid staking token. So let's take a look at this. Users of Binance can engage in decentralized financial protocols outside of the exchange thanks to the wrapped beacon ETH. And this has the ticker WBETH. And while doing so, users will continue to earn Ethereum staking incentives. And on the exchange's Ethereum staking page, customers can wrap Beacon ETH tokens to wrapped Beacon ETH tokens starting Thursday. The cost of wrapping and unwrapping these tokens will be free. So it's great to see that centralized exchanges like Binance make it really easy for people to stake their Ethereum if they don't want to go down the route of using other methods. And obviously, I like to move as much from centralized exchanges as possible, but Binance making it easy for people to get involved in these different features and interact with the blockchain without having all the confusion of directly interacting with the blockchain is just another beneficial thing for the cryptocurrency space at this point in time. Let's move on to the next article now and see what else we have here. Let's see what's in the chat. Kevin Stone said, hit the likes, help her channels algo. Yes, please don't forget to like if you haven't already on today's stream. We have a couple more news articles to go through, and then we are going to do some Bitcoin analysis as well. So Litecoin struggles to conquer $100, less than 100 days to the Litecoin halving. So we can see here that it was rejected with each attempt, and the numerous rejections came despite the bullish Litecoin halving being less than 100 days away. And so we can see here that at the time of writing this article, which was yesterday or this morning, 15 hours ago it was, Litecoin halving is predicted to be only 99 days away. Now this is supposedly a bullish event for Litecoin, but we can see here that it's continuing to get rejected from that $100 level. So definitely something to keep an eye on, something I'm going to take a look at after today's stream, see if there's any opportunities there. I'm not going to say more than that. We don't give financial advice on this channel. We don't analyze the price of altcoins too in depth, but I'm taking a look at that one. We also have here China expands central bank digital currency use cases for cross-border trades. Now, China are in the process of launching their central bank digital currency nationwide. They have also announced that they are paying government employees in specific cities through the central bank digital currency, and they plan to get people to pay tax through the central bank digital currency. And now, they are using it for cross-border trades as well. So they're really trying to implement their central bank digital currency and push people to start using it. I imagine we will see more of this from China and from many other jurisdictions within the next couple of months. A lot of different governments have been working hard on building their central bank digital currencies, and now it's starting to actually come into effect and actually start to be used. Let's move on to the next article here. We have Binance embraces AI for integrating ChatGPT to its Web3 Academy. So the Binance Academy has now a consult AI chatbot called Sensei, and it's powered by ChatGPT, and it will access information on the educational platform and enhance their learning experience. So very interesting article here, actually. After launching its AI-powered NFT platform Picasso in early March, Binance has gone full throttle with AI by integrating ChatGPT into the Binance Academy. So we can see here that the crypto exchange announced on Monday that it had launched Binance Sensei, an AI-driven chatbot powered by ChatGPT technology, which allows users to access information available on Binance Academy in a more intuitive manner. So just making it more accessible for people to find information over on the Binance Academy more easily. Let's take a look at the next article here and see what else is going on in the world of crypto. We've got two really interesting articles here. So the first one being Robert Kiyosaki, who is the writer of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, has predicted that gold is going to crash to $1,000. Now, he is a big fan of Bitcoin, he's a big fan of gold, and he's a big fan of silver, but he's predicting that we are going to see a 50% decline in the price of gold. And this is because he thinks that investors have grown weary from waiting for the asset's price to go higher because they haven't seen this. He's expecting us to see that drop. We're currently trading at $2,000 and he's expecting it to go down to $1,000. Now that is a massive, massive drop. He is saying that when this opportunity comes about, he is going to be buying the dip on this. He's obviously, as I said, a big fan of gold, silver, and Bitcoin and believes they are a great store of value. But he has said that he predicts that gold is going to crash to $1,000. He stated markets are tired of waiting for gold to go higher. And if gold drops to $1,000, I will buy more. I'm an investor, not a trader. To me, gold, silver, and Bitcoin are real money. To me, cash is trash. Nice little statement there. So that is what we are seeing there. Whether this will actually come true and we will see gold to crash 50% will be incredibly interesting. Something we do need to be keeping an eye on. If the price of gold crashes, I would expect Bitcoin to react in some sort of manner. Let's take a look at this Bitcoin prediction we've got in the next article, and then we'll go on to the price of Bitcoin and analyze that in a little bit more detail. We have crypto winter is over and Bitcoin could hit $100,000 by 2024. So analysts from Standard Chartered believe that the crypto bear market is over and Bitcoin could end 2024 at $100,000. Now, I am a Bitcoin bull. Through and through, I am a Bitcoin bull. I am super bullish on the long term of Bitcoin. This analysis, however, is not something that I personally agree with. Nothing is financial advice here on the channel. Obviously, we are all bullish on Bitcoin and on cryptocurrencies, but having $100,000 by the end of 2024 means that we see an all-time high prior to the Bitcoin halving. Now, that is not something we've ever seen before in the history of Bitcoin. I mean, obviously we have one, but the next all-time high should theoretically, if we follow the 4-year cycles, be after the next Bitcoin halving. So this would be breaking that trend. And that's personally not something that I like to trade with. I like to follow the trends, but we can take a look at this article. Let's hear them out and see what they've got to say. So the statement is according to a team of analysts from Standard Chartered who stated that the crypto winter is over. Now, that is something I like to hear. The Standard Chartered team also added that the number one digital asset, Bitcoin, has the potential to end 2024 at a value of $100,000. So while sources of uncertainty remain, we think the pathway to the US dollar 100,000 level is becoming clearer. Now, I wouldn't argue if Bitcoin hit $100,000. In fact, I would quite like it, but I'm not in any rush with this. I am a long-term investor in Bitcoin, and that is not going to change. I don't want to see the price soar massively and then dump massively. I want to see us have a nice long bull market, not bear market, a bull market in 2023, in 2024, and the start of 2025, and see that long-term bull market. I don't want to see us just come into loads of problems. If we break the trend and we see an all-time high this year, obviously things will be different. I would be quite concerned because I would all of my analysis would go out the window, but we would have some nice high prices for Bitcoin still, so I wouldn't be complaining too much. And they are predicting that Bitcoin would reach $100,000 by the end of the year. As I said, this is not something I'm expecting. I'm expecting the next all-time high to hit after the Bitcoin halving, which is predicted to be in April next year, April 2024. So I'm waiting till then, but I'm expecting the year prior to the Bitcoin halving, the 12 months prior to the Bitcoin halving, is typically bullish. If we take a look at the past three Bitcoin halvings, we've seen a rise in the price of Bitcoin overall in the 12 months prior. And we are currently at that point now where we are 12 months prior to the Bitcoin halving. So I'm expecting to see a bullish month, a bullish year, but I'm not expecting to see an all-time high at this point. I may be wrong, nothing is financial advice, but that is just my opinions on the markets right now. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin anyway. Rather than waffling on about it, let's take a look at the data. We can see here that Bitcoin is sat at $27,300, just below. We've had these lines on this chart for a very long time here on the channel. So if you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see what we are talking about here on the channel. We've had these lines on for ages, and the price of Bitcoin has been acting as it should surrounding these levels. So let's take a look here. We were trading above these levels of previous resistance. We did unfortunately break down below it, but when we did, they acted as some sort of a support. So they are still relevant lines. Now, if we take a look at this zone here, this is more of a zone than a line. So if we take that point there to the lows that we saw from this period here, you can see this is the zone of previous support that is now acting as a zone of resistance. This is between the $27,700 level and the $27,880 level. That's currently acting as a level of resistance. Now we have previous levels of support that are continuing to act as a support. So we have this level here, 26,903. I hope you can see this clearly. This might help. And we have this one here, $26,600. Now these are both continuing to act like levels of support, and this is continuing to act like a level of resistance. So as we predicted in yesterday's video, we may just see some sideways action. Let's get the pen out. We may just see some sideways action within this range, or we could potentially see a broader range. So we could see us come back between these two zones. We may in fact trade within this zone for a little bit longer, but we are continuing to see if we can hold these levels of support. So far we've spiked down to this level of support very nicely, and it's been a very strong bounce away from that point. So we could continue to see, hopefully, we should continue to see these supports hold, and hopefully we can start to try and retest this level of resistance and see if we can start to break through above that. So let's take a look now at the RSI and the MACD, as we usually do, just to check in with what's going on with these indicators. Hopefully they should be looking bullish. I'm expecting them to, since we have seen a little bit of a move to the downside, and now we've got some consolidation on the RSI. On the 4-hour chart, we are sat in neutral, if anything slightly oversold. On the MACD, we are looking like we have bullish momentum. Maybe it's slightly declining, but overall it's not too bad. If we go on to the smaller time frames, onto the 1-hour chart, both incredibly neutral at this point. Taking a look at the daily chart, we are seeing here that the bearish momentum on the MACD is starting to weaken, and we are seeing here that the RSI is fairly neutral. So what I am particularly looking at this point in time is seeing if we can hold these levels of support and seeing if we start to trade within these ranges, and whether it's within this level of resistance or this level of resistance. That's what we're looking out for here on the channel right now. We are going to keep an eye on that. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrency news and stay up to date with what's going on in the markets with the price of Bitcoin, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, that is all we have for today's video. So I hope to see you all back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. BST time. See you then. Goodbye. Goodbye.